It's my first live stream. I'm sure it's going to be full of technical problems and coding problems. Yeah, let's get started. I think the stream is about 30 minutes behind what you guys are seeing, so maybe delayed reading chat and everything. Today we're going to start working on a new Fitbit watch face. I'm going to be designing for the Versa, which I've got an actual device right here. This is one I developed a little while ago. The really cool thing is you don't actually need a device to develop for Fitbit. They have a simulator that you can run on your desktop. Thanks, Alex. I made the intro with Blender, and I'm a complete Blender noob, so I was just kind of following a tutorial on YouTube. Let's get started. Let me switch to my screen here. The Fitbit developer, it's completely free. It's free to publish apps and everything, so it's really cool to play with. It's all built on web technologies, JavaScript, CSS, SVG. So it's pretty easy to get into if you know just some basic web development. All right, so let's see here. So I've got the simulator running. Again, this is completely free. You can switch it to a different device. I go to the Versa. The Versa and the Ionic have slightly different screen resolutions or screen dimensions. You have to kind of take that into account if you're developing for both. I'm just gonna go for the Versa for now, and then maybe later on we'll modify it so it works fine on the Ionic. Alright, so let's go into the Fitbit Studio. They do have on their developer roadmap that they're going to make a CLI for developing these off of the web, which would be really cool because then you can use whatever editor like VS Code or Sublime Text, and then still build it and run it on devices from the CLI. So the studio, let's go ahead and create a new project. So I have no idea what to call this. We're going to be building a binary watch face. So let's just call it binary for now. I'm going to go with the digital clock so we get some scaffolding. Let's go ahead and create it. Is the volume all right on the microphone? I hope so. So to start out, it gives us a few files here. We can go ahead and select the simulator for the phone and the device. With Fitbit, you can also develop a settings app that'll run on the phone, and that allows you to do things like change the colors and everything. All right, perfect, good. All right, so now that we've got this this hooked up to our simulator here, which you can also, if you have the device with developer mode enabled, you can build and run it directly to your device, which is pretty cool. You can build it, run it, and see it right on your arm. It's a really cool feature. So I'm going to go ahead and run what this gives us out of the box. It's beautiful. It's done. Our watch face is done. We can publish it, right? No, I'm just kidding. So you can see we've gotten a digital watch here that's running in my local time. It's 12:23 with this beautiful red background. So let's go ahead and look at the folder structure before we dive into code. So you have our main app index file, just JavaScript. Let me make this a little bigger. Is that the new box I got? Oh, no, I haven't hooked it up yet. Let's see, where is it? You're talking about the USB sound card. I need to get a different cable because my microphone is USB already. So I need to get a cable for hooking this up to the sound card, and then I'll be able to use the new box. But yeah, thanks to Alex for sending me that. All right, this is another issue where I'm looking forward to the command line tool because zooming in on the web browser to make it easy for you guys to see makes everything bigger, and I just want to make the code bigger. All right, so index.js, that's our entry to the app. All of our application code is going to go in here. We have a utils.js. This is where you can just kind of put some functions that you're going to share with your code. It comes out of the box with this 0 pad, which just adds a 0 in front of numbers less than 10. So if it were the hour was 9, it would say 09. Our resources, we've got our style CSS. Obviously, that's just our styles. We can see here we can change this background to black. Go ahead and run it. And that's just changing simple CSS property. But yeah, you can use the hash for IDs. You can use the dot for class, just like you would use with regular CSS. Our index. So we have our widgets. That kind of just loads up our style CSS and our widgets common. Or yeah, what is that? Oh yeah, that's our common things that that Fitbit launches with. And then we have our index GUI, which you can use for different screens. If you're building an app where you're going to be swiping between different screens, you can definitely do that. For here, we're only going to have this one SVG. That's we're going to show our clock on. So index GUI, we have our SVG with class background. That's what we turn to black. And then we have our text, which is displaying our time here. So very, very simple to start out with. We'll definitely add more in the future when we get into building the settings page that's going to work on the Android or iOS app, allow you to change the colors or any other settings that we want to change later. So, last thing is our package.json file. It is a JSON file, but the Studio here actually turns it into this nice GUI. So we can come in here and say, I don't want to support Ionic. Any permissions that we need to grab, which we may need to grab. I guess we'll leave this for now and see if we'll need it later. But yeah, it's a nice GUI on top of the package JSON, so you don't have to mess with actual JSON code there. All right, so I don't know if we'll get to the actual binary clock face today. If we go to CodePen, I've already played around with, I guess I need to log in. I've already played around with the JavaScript needed to build it. But here's just kind of an example of what we'll build if it will load. Or maybe I broke something. Yes, it's an awesome app, isn't it, with this nice loading bar. Well, looks like I guess I broke something at some point here. All right. Well, we probably won't get to the actual binary clock today, so let's focus on a few of the other things. I'm going to leave the digital clock in the center for now. Later, this is going to change into a binary watch where each column of dots lighting up will be a digit. So you'll have 2 columns for the hours, 2 columns for the minutes, 2 columns for the seconds. So if you never looked at a binary clock before, they're pretty cool. And I'm thinking that we'll give them options not only to change the colors, but maybe to turn on or off the seconds digits, so you only have 4 digits instead of 6. So just let the user decide what they want to do there. All right, so the first thing I want to do, Fitbit, the main thing on Fitbit is keeping track of your steps, keeping track of your exercise and your heart rate and all that. So I want to go ahead and put in the footsteps that you've taken today. I think I'm just going to put it down at the bottom left and see how that looks. So if we go into our, let's see, where is it? They have a really nice reference guide, really good documentation. It's searchable and everything, so we can come in here. I'm just going to search because I forget where it's at. User Activity API? Yep. So here we go. We can grab their goals. We can grab how many steps they've done today. So let's go ahead and get started with this. So back in our studio, let's jump into our index. I don't like putting everything inside one big index file. I like to separate things out. So I'm going to make a new directory. There we go. I'm just going to call it inc and create a new file called steps.js. Just going to leave that blank. Alright, so we have our steps.js file. Let's go into our API here. So we need to grab today from user activity. So let's import that. And I like to do classes in each file, so we can do export default class steps. So we have our steps class. We also need to be able to print to the screen. So if we go back to index, I believe the document right here, we're going to need this. So document is what it sounds like. You can do, document get by ID and then change CSS or change the value, things like that. So just like in index where they were setting here, the my label is document get element by ID my label, and then setting the text to hours and minutes, which we see here in the simulator. We're going to do the same thing but with steps. So let's go into our front end here. Let's just make a new text property. Do text steps. I kind of like to label it with what this is, so that I know it's a text, it's a rect, it's a circle or whatever, to make it a little bit easier to understand. So inside steps, let's do a const text steps equals document dot get element by ID, and we'll do, we don't need that, text steps. And just to test this, we'll do text steps dot text equals hello world. All right, so now we have that. We need to put this into a function. Let's just put this in the constructor for right now. All right, and then index, I'm going to go up here and say import steps from steps. I believe that's right, or inc, sorry, inc steps. And we can say let steps equal new, actually I'm going to capitalize this, steps, and let's run it and see it fail probably. Alright. This is the part you don't normally see in a YouTube video, is it not working? Let's see, is our style? Let's do font size, let's do 40. Oh, maybe I bet the fill is probably black by default. There it is. Yes, so you can see hello world is being covered up by the time. So yeah, so we just need to move it to where we want it. Let's see here. So you can do an anchor, you can do X and Y. I mean, you can do it in the CSS. I kind of like, I don't know, this is my personal preference. I kind of like saying where something is in the actual front end here. So we can say, X is 50%. We can say Y is 100% minus 40 maybe. Kind of run it. Alright, so we've got it centered horizontally. We need the text anchor. So is that, let's get rid of this. So let's get this text anchor centered. So that way we're telling it the text is in the middle of the page, and we want the text inside that element to be centered as well. So now it's centered horizontally. We want it lowered. Why does it only say hell? What is going on there? Well, I don't know. Let's see here. y is 100% minus 40. Maybe I'm just moving it up too much. No? We're going to say 90%. There we go. Alright, so that's at the bottom. And it only says hell. I don't know why. Whatever has to do with the actual width. Let's check our style. As you can see, I'm pretty new at all this. Text length. We need to tell it how long the text can be. So I don't know, let's just say 100. Hello world. There we go. Finally it works. Alright, so it says hello world. It's not really what we want it to say. Let's make this a little smaller. So we want it to show the number of steps taken today. So we need today local steps or 0. I'm guessing it probably is null if you just say steps. Yeah, number or undefined. So the little or here is going to say if there's no steps, we don't want it to show undefined, we want it to show 0. So let's grab this, go into our steps. So it's going to be the number of steps. Let's just leave it like that for now. So we have 0. I'm guessing we need access to the user activity API. So it's nice that it actually tells you that right here. Move the spaces. Yeah. So let's go back into our package JSON. Let's get the user, it was user profile, right? User activity. I guess it's just this, activity. Let's build and run that. There we go. So it's given us some dummy number of steps there. Yeah, it is weird they have to state the character number. I'm not sure why. You would think that it would just take up as much space as it needed. So yeah, I agree with that. It is a bit weird. Alright, so let's also throw in an icon. On GitHub, Fitbit has a lot of example code out there, and they also have these design assets, which are a bunch of fonts and icons that you can use inside your app. So let's go into icons. Let's see here. Steps. Is this the one I want? Yeah, let's grab the steps. I'm going to do steps solid, 24 pixels. Go ahead and save that here. Alright. And resources, I'm going to make a new directory called images. And let's see, can I? Okay, I can just drag and drop that image. I can find it. Yep, this is it. Sources images. There we go. So here wait. Ooh, that's not what I wanted to download. I didn't grab the image, did I? Did I save images? Okay, I didn't grab the actual image. I grabbed the HTML file of this page. So let's go back to here. Load that in. So there's our beautiful image. Alright. Now let's see if I can remember how to load an image in here. Let's go to index. I believe it's image. Let me check here. Yep, so we're going to say image ID equals, we'll do image steps. And let me see if I can remember how to actually load it. Just an href. Yes, you can animate it with regular CSS animations. I haven't played with it a whole lot, but from my understanding, you can pretty much do whatever you can in regular CSS. The devices are pretty low powered, so too much animation might, cause it to not look too good. But we can play with that later on. Maybe when we get to the binary clock, make the lights when they turn on and off, make them fade and stuff. So yeah, you can definitely animate. Alright, href, we're going to do images or resources. Or is it? I don't know if you need resources or not. Let's just try images. And then I'm going to rename this and just call it steps. See if that works. Yes, okay. You can't see it, it's black, but you can see the image did load. Let's go into our style. I'm just going to say all images. Let's do a fill of white. We'll get to colors once we get the watch face done, and we'll play with like the settings and everything. Alright, so there's our beautiful icon. 24 pixels blown up over the whole screen. It's lovely. Let's set our width and height. Let's just start with 24. The original image was 24 pixels. Oh, I can't do that here, can I? Or did I do something wrong? Go away. This did run, right? Well, that's interesting. What did I miss? I'm a pro at this. Ah. Don't need pixels. There we go. Alright, we have a small icon. It is 24, not 24 pixels. Yeah. Alright, so we have that. We can... Let's go back to... Too many files open. Alright, so let's... so we want this to be to the left of our steps. Let's move this over maybe to the left side. We give it 40 from the left. We need more, I guess. Oh, way too much. Obviously this is trial and error. I did not code this beforehand. Alright, get rid of all of these. Jeez. So let's do an X of, I don't know, let's just put it right at the left side. Y of 90%. Alright, so we're getting close. How much real estate in pixels do you have to play with? That is a good question. Actually, I have some code to figure that out for the device, because, let's see here, where was it? I don't remember. Let me see if I can just Google real quick. So the Versa is 300 by 300 pixels. The screen is 1.34 inches, so it's pretty small. All right, so let's work on getting this all centered up. Does the simulator offer a sort of code inspector to select elements? I don't know. This is the first time I've actually used the actual simulator. I don't think it does. It doesn't look like it. It's pretty basic. There's not a whole lot to it. You can load other apps. You can play with your location, set some of the settings, but other than that, it doesn't look like you can inspect anything. Yeah, that would be definitely a really nice feature to have, especially when we're playing around with getting these aligned pixel perfect, to be able to kind of play with it there. So maybe in the future. Alright, so let's move this back a little bit. We can play with the location of this a little bit. Can't you nest an image and the text to stop the math? Possibly. I'm pretty stupid when it comes to SVG, actually. Can you just wrap it in a div maybe? I'm not sure. We can try that real quick. I can probably say here x 0, y 90%. And it's hard to code and watch chat. Let's take this out, take this out. Let's see what that does. Whoa, not what I expected. Maybe it's not div. I don't know, does anybody know, is there something you can do to wrap the images and text together? Alright, I'm gonna continue with this and you can use the $sign. Yeah, it would be nice to use Flexbox. $+ 40. So the dollar. How do you use the $? Is it just use the thing next to you, the element next to what you're using here? So if I update this x and I say I want this to be at 60, does that work? Oh wow, that is awesome. Okay, I did not know that. That is really handy. Move back to 0. Maybe move it off the screen just a little bit. All right, so that makes it a lot easier. We can definitely move that around. Yeah, thank you for that. That's awesome. All right, so we have our steps in here. All right, so I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. I don't really like this in the constructor. I'm kind of weird about this stuff. We can do a function called, I don't know, draw. Let me put that in the constructor. Does that work? Alright, so when this is created, it gets the element, and then anytime you want it to draw, it'll draw the number of steps. So now we can go in our index, and we can say steps.draw. Should work the same. I don't know. It's up to you. I just kind of prefer something like that. Alright, let's go back in here. I want to play with, there's a lot of CSS or fonts that come out of the box with Fitbit. Let's see here. Is it CSS guide? Yeah, fonts. Which is, I mean, I really like all these fonts. You know, they just use kind of web fonts here. So let's play with, maybe do Colfax regular. Go into our style CSS. We don't have anything for everything, right? Let's just do font family. Run that. Change the font up a little bit, make it a little more personal. And once this is done, I'm going to open source this whole project, so if you guys want to look at it yourselves and play with it, you're more than welcome to. A Fabricat. But the simulator does give you like a really quick, turnaround as to like, when you change something, you can quickly run it and see it in action, which is really nice. It's a little slower going to the actual device, probably mainly because you're going over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. I think I liked the other font better. All right. So we got our steps in there. We've got our time. Later we'll replace the time with our binary clock, which I'll get the code pin fixed and let you guys look at that later. Could also add heart rate, all kinds of things. But yeah, coming to the end of the stream. Do you guys have any questions or anything for me before we end it? The stream is a little bit behind, so I think it's about 30 seconds. And this should be recorded by YouTube, so it'll be up if you guys are jumping in and catching the end of the stream. You can rewatch it from the beginning later on. Can you sell your watch faces on the marketplace? So from my understanding, the marketplace is like you can sell paid apps on there, but the store itself doesn't handle the payment for you. So when you submit it, it does ask, are you going to monetize it in some way? I think it's just for their purpose of knowing. And I've seen watch faces where you downloaded it and it says like, oh, it's free for 24 hours. After that, you need to go and pay for it on our own server. So, this is just web technology, so you can access outside APIs. So if you want people to sign up and they haven't, then you can hit the API and your server saying, hey, this email address isn't on file. They haven't paid for it. So, shut it down or limit the features. So the simulator is a local version running on my desktop. That's why I'm running Windows right now. They have the simulator for Windows and iOS. They don't have it on Linux, but I've seen people online talking about using Wine to run it on Linux. I haven't tried it yet. I'm definitely going to try to do that soon. But yeah, it's a standalone app. You have to download and install. Alright, well, if you guys don't have anything else, I'm going to end the stream. If you liked the video, make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Oh, Alex, what's the protocol to access external APIs, say like the Stripe API or other third-party APIs? I haven't actually done it. I have read about it. They do have it in here somewhere. Not those APIs. Because I know they have things like they have weather apps that hit, Weather Underground or something. I know I've seen it somewhere and I'm not sure where it's at. But yes, from my understanding, you can hit external APIs. So yeah, but for actual payment, you probably want to do it on the computer or on a mobile app or something because, yeah, just fetch. Just because the device is so small, I mean, I can't imagine trying to enter a credit card information on a device. But yeah, you could definitely just have a little API on your own server that's just going to hit it, just a quick, hey, is this okay or is it not? And then tell the user, visit this website on your phone or something. So, all right. Well, if you guys like this, make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and I'll probably try to do this again in a couple weeks. I'm gonna be traveling to San Diego for a conference for work next week. But yeah, I'll put this code up on GitHub later today, so you guys can download and play with it. You can get a account on Fitbit for free, so you're welcome to go and play with the development on your own. And you guys know where to find me here on YouTube and on Twitter at Chris J. Perko. And you guys have a good one. Bye.